Hey all, my name is Paul Borosky, and I am the owner of Quality Business Plans, and I am going to show y'all part two of creating the business plan, which is the company description. All right, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the presentation. All right, so as previously said, what I'm doing here in this presentation is I am giving y'all a step-by-step description as to how to complete your business plan. And the second step is the company description. The first part was the business plan structure. And my name is Paul Borosky. I'm an MBA, and I'm also working on my dissertation, which is focused on helping small business owners create strategies to improve their businesses. As I also said, I'm a quality business plan. I'm the owner of the quality business plan. And let's see here. All right. So before we get into the second part, let's go over some of the important reasons why a business owner needs a business plan. First, a business plan is going to help a small business owner get organized. If you don't have a plan, that's going to focus your operations, your marketing, and all the other actions that you're going to take onto a common objective. Well, you're not going to be able to build synergy, and you're going to be missing out on better servicing your customers, running a more efficient operation. But keep in mind, your competitors have a business plan. They are focused. And you're not only just competing, for the most part, you're not just competing in a general area, a city or even a state. As technology grows, our competition is going to become global. So you have to keep that in mind. Another thing is a lot of people, they wait for a business plan until they need funding. Well, if someone is out and about and you're at a fundraiser or a function and you run into someone, you start telling them about your business. Well, maybe they're interested in funding your business, and they'll request, hey, do you have a business plan I can see? Well, if you're going to struggle and you have to rush and put together a business plan in that situation, then it's not going to be a very good business plan. So don't wait until the opportunity arises or the need arises to get your business plan. Get it now, and then when the opportunity presents itself, you're ready for it. Another reason for a business plan is to have a vision for your company. All businesses are going to be, or for most part, most businesses are going to be around for a year or 2 or 5 years. Well, what is your business going to look like in that time, in 5 years? Is it going to look like what it looks like now? Or is it going to be growing? Or is it going to be smaller? You don't know. However, if you have a vision for your company through a vision plan, then you'll be able to have a better opportunity to gaining that vision or attaining that vision. And a final reason to have a business plan is to create synergy. And synergy is when you have all of your departments or divisions or all of your actions focused to attaining a specific objective or vision. And when all your employees are working towards a common goal or common objective, then you're going to have a better chance of being successful. However, you need that future vision, and that future vision can be compiled through a business plan. So with all those reasons, and there is a multitude of more reasons why having a business plan is so critical, let's get to our review. All right, so what we previously did is we went ahead and we created the business plan structure. And the business plan structure started with the title page, and then we formatted and created the table of contents. And from there, we went ahead and we did the subcomponents of the table of contents, which was the executive summary, the company description, market analysis, and so forth. And from this business structure right here, please keep in mind, when you're writing a business plan, it's all about structure. You've got to have a structure to it. If you don't have a structure to your business plan, then it's just going to be all over the place. It's not going to make sense. It's not going to be coherent. And when an investor reads it, it's going to be very obvious that either A, you don't know what you're doing, or B, you're not able to explain what you're doing in writing. Either one of those detriments, it can cost you funding, or it can make you look bad in the eyes of the investor. Um, so keep in mind, it's critical every step of the way when we're writing the business plan to have structure. All right, let's see here. All right, now the next component of the business plan, like we said, we already talked about the title page is the first page. Second page could be your table of contents. Your third page is going to be your executive summary. Well, we are not going to do your executive summary until last. That is the final thing you're going to do when you write your business plan. Your executive summary is going to summarize everything in your business plan. Well, you can't summarize stuff that you haven't written yet. So, executive summary is always going to be last. And then the next component is going to be the company description, and that's where we're at right now. So for the company description, and if you followed my last video, you'll see that the company description is going to be on page 4. So what we're going to do to start the company description is I've already got our templates already over here. So the main purpose of the company description is to introduce the investor or the reader to what your company is going to do. You know, what's the problem that your company solves? You know, how does your company solve it? You know, what business or products that you offer? Where's it located? Your vision, your mission, your value statement, and then every time you do a component such as the company description and the marketing analysis, you're going to have a summary. And the reason the summary is so important is because investors are not going to want to read everything. They're going to want to, maybe they're interested in what your company does, or maybe they're interested in your value statement, but they're going to gravitate towards the summary if they don't feel like reading the whole thing. And again, unfortunately, that's the truth of most investors, is they're not going to sit there and read your business plan from cover to cover. They're going to pick out the important pieces. The important pieces are going to be your company description, and your financials are the most important they're going to look at. And then from there, they're going to dive into, if they're really interested, they're going to look at your strategies. They're going to look at your market analysis, your marketing, see if you've done your homework, and your organizational management and all the other subcomponents. All right. So with that said, we are going to be doing the company description, and to start with the company description, you always, like I said, you start with the structure, and the structure is going to be this right here. So for the first section, and now these are also subsections, your first section is going to be your problem, you know, the problem, and then it's going to be company, and I'll describe what each one of these means in a second. So you're going to start with the problem. What is the problem your company is trying to solve? Next step is going to be your products and services that you're going to offer, where you're located, and then again the vision, mission, value statement, and the summary. So these are the subcomponents we're going to be working with. Let's give us a little bit of space here. And now before we start really diving into putting information in here, we are going to get our structure. And to do that, you hit your control, and then you highlight the words that you want to have focused, and you want to focus all of them. So you hit your command or your control, you focus all your keywords here, and then we're going to go under style, and these are going to be heading 2. So we'll click on heading 2, and then we'll go back and we'll refocus these again. Also holding the command button. And what this is doing is this is helping us again create structure to our business plan. All of our actions are going to be towards creating structure. It's going to be Times New Roman 12, and then we're going to go with a font of black, and we're going to bold it. We're also going to italicize these. So the main headings, we're going to center them, and we're going to have them bold. And for our subheadings, we're going to italicize them, and we're going to put colons by them, and they're still going to be bold as well. And of course, you want to save your work continuously. All right, so we got some more structure set up here, and we've got our subcomponents. So the step 2 is going to be now putting in what we're going to put into each one of these subcomponents. All right, so for a problem, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the entrepreneurial process. And the entrepreneurial process is going to start with what is the problem you're going to solve. For example, if if you're selling bicycles, well, people have a problem. They need exercise and they get sick of jogging. If you're selling ice cream, well, people are hot and they want something that's going to taste good and take away from the heat, thus your ice cream. So you have to identify the problem that you're solving. Don't just say your business, well, I'm going to write business plans. Well, why are you writing business plans? Start with the problem. Start identifying why you're going to do your business. And once you identify why you're going to do your business, then your company is going to make more sense to the reader. They're going to understand, well, of course, hey, I never thought that, my shoelaces keep coming untied, so your business is going to be, the Velcro shoes. And you've got to identify the problem your company is going to solve. So that's the first step in the entrepreneurial process. The second step is who has this problem. You've got to be able to identify again who has the problem. You don't want to sell, ice cream to Eskimos. They're not going to be hot all that much. They might like something tasty, but again, that's the whole point, is you have to identify the problem and then who has the problem. For my business that we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be showing you how to write for, is to write business plans. So my company is to write business plans. However, the problem that I'm solving is a lot of small business owners, they don't know how to write business plans. And by not being able to write those business plans, they're not being able to focus their companies, they're not obtaining funding, and there's a lot of detriment to not being able to have a business plan or not writing the business plan. From that problem, my solution is to offer my services, which is writing business plans. So identify what the problem is, and then you'll be able to go to the next step, is identify who has the problem. And the third step is going to be what's going to happen if the problem's not solved. So you're identifying what the problem is, you're identifying who has a problem, and then you're going to predict, you're going to tell the reader, well, if this problem's not solved, there's going to be a lot of issues. If business owners continue to fail, because they don't have business plans, well, the economy is going to be hurt. Large businesses are going to be, gaining larger market shares. There's a lot of different problems. There's a lot of things that are going to happen if the problem is not solved, which is small business owners not having a business plan. Then the fourth step is going to be, how will your company solve the problem that you've identified? And that's when you start talking about your company. So you don't just start your business description by talking about the company. You start with identifying the problem, who has the problem, and what's going to happen if the problem's not solved. Then you start talking about how you introduce your company, and you start telling them how you can solve the problem. The final part is going to be, you're the hero. What happens when you solve this problem? This is when you start talking more about your company. You introduce your company here, how you solve the problem. You tell everybody how you're going to solve the problem, and what happens when your problem is solved. This is almost the end of the story. You're the hero. Everybody's happy, yada, yada, yada. So that's how you're going to solve this section right here, or compile this section. And again, I'll show you a finished product, but these are the components that are going to be in the problem section. For the company section, they are going to be on this side right here. And let me tighten this up. I apologize. All right, so this is what this company section is going to look like. So in the company section, we're going to go in depth now. So we've kind of introduced the company right here, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But we've introduced the company here. Now we're going to bring back the company, and we're going to start talking about what your company does. And we're going to go into some details exactly on what your company does and the products and services that your company is going to offer. After that, we're going to talk about the target market. Now, the different components that we're going to have here are a little bit intertwined. For example, we're talking about the target market under the company description, and we do that because it makes sense. I mean, you're not going to talk about your company, but not talk about who you're selling it to. You've got to intertwine the two. So you're definitely going to repeat your target market right here, but you're going to add more depth to the target market later on into the market analysis. So just keep that in mind that you're going to have overlap in your business plan, and you're supposed to. It's expected. So the target market is pretty much going to be, who has the problem that you're going to solve. And the way I love to explain to clients and when I'm teaching to my students, you know, how do you explain the target market is, if you've seen somebody walking down the street that would be the perfect person to buy your product or service, what does that person look like? Are they male, female? Are they 10 years old or 50 years old? Are they short, thin? It just whatever that person looks like, as much detail as possible. For myself, what I would be looking for is a small business owner, someone who's starting a business or someone who has already started their business. That is my target market, is a small business owner. I don't care if they're in the U.S. or in South Africa somewhere. Business plan's a business plan. I help them all. But that is who I'm looking for, is a small business owner. To be more specifically, a small business owner who is struggling, to start the business, or who doesn't understand, who has questions about how to start their business, or who needs organization, and we can just go on and on. But what you're looking for the target market is to identify who this person is that you're going to sell to, as specific as possible. The next component is going to be what markets is your business going to serve. If you're a retail business and you're going to have a brick and mortar or a storefront establishment, well, where's it going to be located? Is it in the south or east or west side of the city? If you're going to do it online, is there markets, or is there locales that you're not going to enter? What's the deal? So markets your business is going to serve, and then what you're going to do is we're going to discuss in this section what differentiates your company from other companies. And again, just one or two sentences. We're going to be brief about this. What differentiates your company, and then we're going to talk a little bit in this section about competitive advantage. What is your company going to do better than everybody else? Why should customers use your company? Is going to be the final portion of this segment. All right. And again, we're going to move all this into a written document. So keep that in mind. This is a starting point, but then we're going to move into, I'm going to show you how to get a complete finished product for this section. Location. The next thing we're going to do is going to be the location. So let's move this template over here. Location, you're going to discuss where you're located. Are you, like I said, up here we touch on a little bit markets your business is going to serve. So we touch on a location a little bit, but where are you located? For myself, Orlando, Florida. Why have you chosen this area? Benefits. And I like to throw some pictures, not a whole lot of pictures in my business plans, but put some pictures. Maybe for your company, if you have a storefront, put a picture of your storefront in the company section. If you have a menu, put it under the product section. So some pictures are good, but the more pictures you put in there, the less it takes away from the content of your writing, and you don't want that. You want potential investors, banks, to see that you have depth, and you have breadth, and you have understanding in your business plans. You don't want a bunch of pictures, that's going to take away from them actually getting into details of your plan. All right, so that location is going to be where you are, why you're located there, and benefits. Now, why it gets a little bit tricky. Most people say, well, I started this business because I live in Orlando, Florida. Well, that might technically be the case, but Just because you live, I'm going to pick on Alaska again. Just because you pick on Alaska doesn't mean that you should open up a chain of ice cream places in Alaska. So there's more reason to why you're located there. So just keep that in mind. The next thing that's critical to the company description is going to be your vision. And the vision statement is what your company is going to look like in 5, 10, or 20 years. And now this segment right here can be as in-depth as a couple paragraphs, or it can be as short as, a couple sentences or a paragraph. But always include your vision statement, because your mission statement and your value statement are going to be aligned towards your mission statement. Now, for the mission statement, what the mission does is that explains to customers how you are going to attain your vision. So in 5 years, our company is going to look like this. Well, your mission explains how you're going to get there. So in the mission statement is how you're going to accomplish your vision. You can put your products and services, and you can put what you're not going to offer. Now, for scholars, there in academia, there's a lot of disagreement as to what should be in a mission statement. Some scholars or academics say it should be a paragraph. Well, there's a lot of people out there, a lot of successful business owners that have just a few words as their mission statement. For example, Richard Branson, his mission statement is "Screw it, let's do it." And that's something that he pushes onto his employees to build the mindset that he wants them to take risk and to expand the company, and everything's on the table. Let's take some risk. So it really depends on the business owner, but definitely have some kind of a mission statement that's going to help the company move towards their vision. And the value statement's important just to let the customers know and let your employees know what's expected of them. And again, it could be just as simple as 3 words: honesty, integrity, and foresight, or just something that's going to show that you have thought about the values of your company and what you want your employees and yourself to be known for. And again, this is going to tie into the mission statement, because the mission statement is how you're going to get to your vision, and the value statement is how you are going to conduct yourselves while you're while you're doing your mission statement. So these 3 are very important aspects. And finally, what we have is a summary. Like I said, every component is going to need a summary, except for, of course, the executive summary and the final summary. But for the business, the company description, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a summary. And this summary is it's just going to summarize, obviously, the problem, the company, the location, the vision, the mission, and the value statement. So it's a real succinct area that covers everything. All right, so once we have this structure right here, now what we do is we go back to the top, and now we start writing. And the first section right here is a problem. Like I said, is the problem statement. So what I've done, is I've already written up a problem statement for us here. So I'm going to delete now that, and now notice that I've got everything set up in single spaced. So everything's set single spaced right here. Now we're going to move this at the end. We're going to move this to 1.5 spaces. It's easier to read. But again, the structure is just going to be single spaced right now. All right, so the problem that I've identified, and so let's connect everything here. So the problem, entrepreneurial process. So what is the problem you're solving? So right here, I start with the startup businesses. Startup businesses have approximately 90% failure rate in the first 5 years. That is a true statement, and I will also include, later on I'll come back and I'll put a citation in here, but you don't want just to make a statement like that just because you're making the statement. do a little bit of research and find out, what the problem is and what other people are saying about this problem. And then you're going to put your citation right here, and you're going to show the reader that you've done your research, you know what you're talking about, and this is a real problem. And you're not just saying this is a problem. Other people are saying this is a problem, and here's a citation you can go to and you can read it yourself. All right, so here's the problem. Problems identified. Next thing is going to be making the problem worse. This failure rate increases during the times of recession. Well, of course. Economy is down, small businesses are going to suffer even more. So again, another true statement. Reasons for companies' failures are numerous. And now there's going to be some reading errors in here, some writing errors, some grammatical errors. You want that. Don't stop every time you run into a grammatical error. The whole point of this practice right here is to get all your ideas out and get them on paper, and then you can do the editing process. Don't stop and be obsessed with the grammar right now. Make it readable, but don't get crazy about the grammar. So reasons for companies' failures are numerous, and they are. However, studies have shown that businesses without a successful business plan have a higher chance of failing. So here's where I start introducing now why my business is important. Okay, so I'm starting with the problem, and then I made it worse right here with the recession, and so now I'm starting to shift over to how my business is going to help. You see, higher percent chances. Business without a business plan. I'm sorry. So this is still the problem. So I'm still making the problem worse. Businesses without a business plan have a higher percent chance of failing. Another true statement. Another citation needed. So here's a bad problem. Companies are failing. Here's an even worse problem. Some of them, a majority of companies that are failing, don't have business plans, making the problem worse. And then I'm going right here. Who has the problem? Well, that's going to be self-evident, is small business owners, but let's see if we tie into that. Let's see here. If this issue continues, our economy as a whole will lose billions. True, absolutely. Government may increase taxes. Who knows? It may or may not happen, but again, it's a possibility. That's what we're trying to do is in this section right here. What happens if the problem's not solved? You want to be able to show the reader, if this problem is not solved, there's going to be consequences. Will the government raise taxes? Who knows? Maybe not because of this, but it is a potential problem. This may be a result, and that's what you're looking for. Potential business owners may not embark on entrepreneurial ventures. Well, this is definitely true. As more businesses fail, well, guess what? That's going to make news. People are going to see that. Well, all these companies are failing. People are not going to start taking chances, and they're not going to be starting their businesses. That is a huge problem. Due to this continued failure rate. So right here is a problem. I'm knocking out the first three. What's the problem? Who has the problem? Implicitly, maybe I could add, small business owners, but again, that's implicit right here. So that's still talking about who has the problem and what's going to happen if the problem's not solved. And so this right here, now we're going to transition into the last two. How will you solve the problem and what happens when you solve the problem? And so now I put this transition part in here, but I'm going to take this out. And so now we're going to talk about, the transition into how will you solve this problem. Because of these issues, I've decided to offer services as a business plan writer and a business plan consultant. So now I'm going and I'm telling y'all, because of all these problems, I've decided to start my business. And from this point on, it's all about the business. My company, and then I start talking about my company, will help small business owners. And now here's the services that I'm going to offer. What will happen? So here's the services we're going to offer right here. Services are right here. So the services, my company's Quality Business will help small business owners construct business plans to help obtain funding, attract potential investors, and focus on operational actions. So here's the benefits of my company. And finally, in doing this, business in doing this, businesses will have increased chances for success in all stages of their businesses. So this section right here focuses on how will you solve the problem, and this final section right here is what happens when the problem is solved. So this is just a real succinct discussion of the entrepreneurial process applying your business and the benefits of it. Very small, very structured, but it also tells the reader, pretty much everything, in a nutshell, what it needs to know about your company, why it's there, who it's helping, and, the problems you're going to avoid and the benefits of your company. So that's your problem section right there. Let's get rid of all these highlights, make it nice and neat again. All right, so the next section is going to be the company. So now we're going to dive into your company. I always like to leave a space between the end of the previous paragraph and the subcomponent here. It just, again, gives a real nice structure. So now we got the company section right here. So let's scroll down and let's grab the company section. And so now I'm going to delete that information. All right. And so now we're going to keep the same structure as above. It's got the problem, it's got the subheading, and then it's got the paragraph. Same thing here. Space, subheading, paragraph. All right, so now let's tie in all the steps right here. So the company right here. So what do you do? Quality business plan will help small business owners professionally develop business plans to increase chances of funding. So this is one thing that I'll do. And then I'll also expand to right here on what other services that we're going to offer. So this is a section that we're talking about. Now we're talking about a company. What's my the main thing that I do is I write business plans. What else do I do? All these other things. Then to highlight this information, I'm also going to put this into a bolded list. But not only just a bolded list, I'm also going to make this, I don't want to take up, again, I just don't want to eat up a lot of white space. So I'm going to put a little bit more structure into this. I'm going to improve my layout, and I'm going to put this into 2 columns. If it'll let me. All right, well, it's not letting me put it into 2 columns. I'm not sure why. I've got it into 2 columns over here, and I'm not going to waste time trying to figure that out. All right, let's see here. All right. One more second. Sorry about this. All right, so we got our information right here of what we're going to do. And let's tie this in to company. So what do you do is we've got it right here, what we do. So this is taken care of. Describe the nature of your business. Explain how your products and services meet these needs. Let's see here. How our services, so what I'm doing here is I skipped over this. Explain how your products and services are going to meet the needs of the customer. I don't want to get too deep into, I don't want to get too deep into explaining the products and services right here. For the simple fact is, want to be brief with this presentation. So, if you want, add more detail to it. Explain your products and services. You can break it up and go, business plan writing. What does this do for business plan writing? Business consulting. How does this help? So you can go into a lot more detail. You can break out this section here from 2 pages to 10 pages easily. So just keep in mind you can add more details to each component, and then you can dive into the whys. The next portion right here is going to be the target market. So our services will target, we'll have a target market of small business owners and who will be starting their businesses, who have already started the businesses. So this right here is going to tie into the target market section, and we will target and then I explain why I'm targeting these individuals. I'm targeting small business startups because of their need for funding, challenges for structuring businesses and such. And then down here I target I explain why my target market is also small business owners already operating, which is right here. And the reasons for this is because focus, let's see, will help focus operations. Let's see here, obtain funding for growth and expand strategies that are already in place. So I touch in reasons why this is my target market, but again, each one of these subcomponents can be put into a lot more detail later on. It just depends on how deep into the business plan I want to go. All right, so the next subcomponent is going to be location. So we'll go down here and we'll pull up location. In the location, I like to put a picture in for the location. And for my company, like I said, we're located in Orlando. So I'm going to put just a little picture of Orlando. I don't want to include that. So I just want to grab this. Let me grab this. All right, I'll move this down, move this over a little bit. All right, so now here's my location. And let's see here. This is giving me, again, I'm not going to worry too much about the structure here. For the simple fact is we want to get through this video, but I would, let's see here. All right, so what you want is you don't want this gap in between here. You want the same structure as up here. And I'll have to mess around with this a little bit later and find out why this structure is here. Let's see your paragraph, single, don't space there. And that didn't change it. All right, I'll take a look at that later. That's why the structure is a little bit messed up. But let's finish this up. All right, so for the location, and I dive into where a company is located, which is Orlando, Florida. Then I'll have a nice little picture right here as to, whether it's a storefront, then be a picture of a storefront. But in my case, since it's online, just, picture of the area. So it adds a little bit of graphic details here. And then I discuss here why the location is here. So this location is beneficial because a large percent of small business owners. And then I go further as to why this is beneficial because the large cities around it. Excuse me. And then on a final note here, I explain that the location, yeah, this is where we're at here, but it's really not that important to my business. And so I'll make a note right here of why it's not important. And the reason that my location is not important is because I do a lot of my business, if not probably 95% of it, through Skype or over the telephone. So because of that, and it's so focused online, my location really doesn't matter, but still, your readers are going to expect you to include your location in your business plan. So go ahead and do it, and this is the way to do it. All right. Now the next thing, what we're going to do is we're going to get into the vision statement, and the vision statement, like I said, vision statement is what your company is going to look like in 20 years. So let's go down and we're going to find vision statement. So here's a vision statement that I have for my company. I'm going to delete this and insert this. All right, so here's my vision statement. So the vision statement of, so I'll introduce what a vision is. Obviously, a lot of people are already going to know, but I like to do that for my business plans just to prepare the reader as to what it is and what to expect. And so from there, I'm going to discuss what my business is going to be. So I start with 5 years, and I explain what's my business going to be looking like in 5 years, and I discuss it. And again, you go into as much detail as possible, and then at the end, what I do is I talk about just briefly where I want to be in 10 years. Now, again, you can make this put as much detail in there as possible, or you can put as little detail. For me, what I did is I've got it down to what these how many business writers I'm going to have, how many web page designers I'm going to have, how many business consultants I'm going to have, and then support staff right there. And then again, some more errors, which is fine. That's why proofreading's there. And a support staff of 18 individuals. So this is what it's going to look like in 5 years. And then in 10 years, I could have went into more details about 10 years. I could have put more details in 20 years. But this is a good idea as to where this is going. So now my mission statement, like I said, and my value statement are all going to be focused on attaining this objective right here. So for the mission statement, these are some of the components you can put into there. And for my company, this is what I've decided to use as a mission statement is plan for success. And so that's the mission statement for my company. And it's got a multitude of different meanings. But for this section, the mission statement is a critical component. So again, I introduce it. And then for our firm, we chose a specific topic through a slogan. So plan for success. And as I've mentioned time and time again, how important it is to have a structure and have a plan. Well, it only makes sense to use in my mission statement, plan for success. Now, I will also go into a little bit more details as to why I chose that. By focusing on planning for success, my main segment is business plans. Well, like I said in the beginning, business plan increases the chances of a small business owner's success. Plan for success kind of plays off that. In addition, the business consulting segment can use plan for success in a different manner. Often small business owners lack optimal structure to attain their profits. And so one of the things my consultants will do, or what I will do, is say, introduce, as you probably already know, my mission statement is plan for success. Well, your organization lacks a lot of structure, a lot of planning. So let's mitigate that, and get rid of that. So now I'm going to train my employees and myself to use plans for success, which is our mission statement, into our daily operations to have it embedded into our culture. So that's just one way to use a mission statement, and there's a multitude of others, but this is a nice little trick that I use with a lot of my business plans. And the next one is going to be our value statement. Now for the value statement is going to be and for the value statement right here, there's 3 values that I'm going to push and that I have is going to be honesty. See here, guys, the mission says in starting. So it's going to be honesty, and then efficiency, and then finally it's going to be growth. So those are my 3 keywords that I'm going to use in my my value statement. And then at the end, what I'll do is I'll put honesty, and then I'll put a dash, and I'll put efficiency, and then I'll put another dash, and I'll put growth. Again, I want to highlight this information, forward it, center it rather, and italicize it. And heck, why not? We'll even make it bold too. All right. And so we'll introduce it up here. Our company, as our values as a company, will help guide and implement our mission statement, tying back to the mission statement. And then I break down one of our main values is honesty and why honesty is important. As a business plan writer and a business plan consultant, you got to be honest, sometimes brutally honest with the customers, especially if they're not listening to you. They hire you to give them advice. If they don't listen to your advice, then you have to be honest as to, why it's important for them to listen. Efficiency that's important in my business. And one of our values is because if my company is not efficient, well, your competitors are still in business while you're waiting for me to finish my work. So our customers are losing time and money as long as the longer it takes us to complete an assignment, whether it's a business plan, going through identifying issues in operations and such. So efficiency is critical, of value for our company. And finally, growth. And we want to focus on growth. So everything we do, the business plan is focused on helping the business grow through, putting all their information into a nice succinct area, focusing all the operations. So growth is one of our other value statements. These values can range, from company to company. Most of the business plans that I use, honesty is definitely one of the main ones. Integrity is also popular. So it kind of seems so, a little bit cliche, but if you don't put it in there, then you're not stressing. These values are important. There's a lot of businesses out there that don't want you thinking about values. They're gonna take whatever they want from you. Don't think about values. Um, at least you want to be upfront and say, hey, we've considered the values, and here's what's important to us. So take that consideration. It just takes a few minutes to include it, and it also helps support the mission statement, which supports the vision. So again, it's tying everything together, from one point to the next. All right, and the final thing that we're going to talk about is going to be the summary. So for the summary, when I write my summaries, I always like to go back, to where I started from, and I'll have a document right here, and then I'll go right into the problem statement. Usually, I'll pull the first couple sentences over there, which I did. Summary. Here's what the problem is. Makes it a little bit worse. And then I start talking about how I'm going to make it better. A popular action for business owners is to create a business plan to help funding. So here's all the, what's going to make the problem better. And then here's where I introduce my company because of these issues, and because of the problems that small business owners have for writing business plans. Here's my service. And then I start, again, summarizing everything, further. Services will include, here's what the services. So just highlighting everything that we've already covered. Pull this information over. You don't have to rewrite the whole thing. Just the very important details you're going to pull over and you put it into here. All right. So with that said and done, now let's go ahead and to finish up the structure. Now, I know we've got a little structure issue right here, and I'm not sure what's going on with this. So I'll have to come back to this a little bit later. But the final portion that we're going to do here is we're going to take this and we're going to format these into paragraph. You're going to want to set this up to a paragraph, and you're going to want a space and a half. So you want to put a space and a half. So we got a space and a half there, and it looks like we got 1, 2, 3 pages, and you want to tighten this up right here and do that. So you got 1, 2, 3. So we got a 3-page company description. That's usually good for a smaller intermediate business plan. Once you start talking, the complex business plans, this can easily turn into 5 to 10 pages. So with that said, the only other thing here is now we need to make these. Let's see here. Did we already do that? Let's see here. Let's update our table of contents. Final step is to update your table of contents. Update table of contents, entire table, and there we go. And so now we've got all our subcomponents into our business plan as well. And so the next video we're going to do is going to be the market analysis, and I'll show you how to do the market analysis, and I'll walk you through step by step, creating the structure and such, like we did with the last one. All right, so with that said, I'm glad y'all made it through this video. I know it was a long one. It's about an hour and a half. But just to summarize, the importance of a business plan cannot be understated. It's going to help you focus your business. It's going to help you, it's going to focus your business. It's going to help you set objectives. It's going to help you better understand your customers. It's going to help you better understand your competition. You're going to be able to line your divisions into a vision towards your vision statement. You're going to help define what your mission is, why you're doing what you're doing. So, again, there's a multitude of reasons why you need a business plan. However, not very many videos help business owners actually walk through and finish a business plan. So, again, my name is Paul Borosky. I am I do write business plans. So if you get stuck, you need some help, please don't hesitate to get me on my company, which is qualitybusinessplan.com, and I'd love to work with you all. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good one.